afternoon. By my name, I'm Mr. Julius ODHIAMBO from Homa Bay County. My current station is Ngedu Secondary in Gatundu South, Kiambu County. Welcome to KUTV channel, where we're going to learn about gradient and equation of a straight line. Welcome all. Okay, now we want to start our lesson, and the topic is gradient and equation of a straight line. And basically we're going to check on how to form equation of straight line, or equation of a line. Equation of a line. Equation of a line. That is our main emphasis for today. But before we check on how to form equation of a straight line, we have to know how to find the gradient of a line. So how do we find the gradient of a line? Gradient of a line. Gradient. Gradient. Now, gradient basically is the steepness of a slope. It is the measure of the steepness of a slope. It is the measure of the steepness of a slope. That is gradient, as a layman can define the term gradient. But mathematically, gradient is given by vertical distance over the horizontal distance. Just like I've said, mathematically, gradient is given by vertical distance over the horizontal distance. Let us check at an example. For example, A. Given that point A in bracket 3, 2 and B in bracket 6, 3. Given that points A and B are this, find the gradient. Find the gradient. So what do we do? The first thing is we have to identify the X and the Y column or axis. Just like we've been told, the vertical distance over the horizontal distance. So what do? We come in our first point, A, 3, 2. We identify X. This is Y. Point B, X and Y. For easy working, in the point A, which comes first, we will give it X1 and Y1. Point B will be X2 and Y2. You will see the reason as to why I've decided to use Y1, X1, X2 and Y2 as we work out. Now, gradient will be change in y over change in x. Change in y over change in x. Now what do? The first thing is we have to identify the change in the y. The change in the y is the change in the vertical distance, whereas the change in the x is the change in the horizontal distance. So we come to our question and we identify now our gradient will be change in y over change in x. Now, change in y, it will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm sure you have seen the reason as to why I was giving them x1 and y1, so that we are able to use them in our next step. Now, what do? We come and identify the values. What is x2? x2 is 3. Fantastic. Minus y1. y1 is what? 2 over x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 3. So the change in y will be 1 over change in x will be 3. Therefore, our gradient will be a third. 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 That is one case. That is in one given case. Remember, there are a variety of cases whereby in one point we can have values of A and B being negative. So what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? This is example 1. Let us check on an example 2. Let us check example 2. Let us check example 2. Keep on watching Kenya's #1 premier educational channel, KUTV. It is a channel that enables students all over the country to benefit from the educational projects that they are bringing live on the air, be it mathematics, geography, and all that stuff. So I will advise all the parents who are watching, let us embrace Kenya's #1 premier educational channel, which is none other than KUTV. Good. Now let us move to the next example. You will be told, find the gradient. Find the gradient of a line passing through point. Let me just use A. Don't ask me why I love using A. It is the first letter in the alphabetical order. A, we got A, we got negative 3, okay. Find the gradient of a line passing through point A, just like I've said, -3, -6, and B, point B, we have got 2, 9. 2, 9. We have been told to find the what? The gradient. Remember, just like I said when I started, that for us to form equation of a line, we have to know how to find the gradient. So let us come. What do? Just like I did in the previous example, we are back here. This is point A. We just give it x1. y1 and x2 y2. Now what do we do? From there, we write our formula. We write our formula. We write our formula. We write our formula, which gradient is change in y over change in x, which will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We come to our question. Our y2 is 9. Our y2 is 9, which will be 9 minus, what is our y1? Negative 6. So it is 9 minus 6. Sorry for that. My pen is faint. So I will use the other one. 9 minus 6 over 2 minus 3. Now, if we look at this keenly, like mathematicians, we know that when there are two negative signs in between, it changes to a positive. So simply, it will be 9 plus 6 over 2 plus 3, which will be 15 over 6. Sorry. 15 over 5. Now, we can simplify this. We can simplify this further. Whereby we are going to say 5, 1, 5, 3. Now, our gradient eventually is 3. Our gradient eventually is 3. So that is how we are able to get the gradient of a line. That is how we are able to get the gradient of a line. Now, before we move to equation of a straight line, the basic concept under gradient is just identifying the points. It is just identifying the points and knowing how to give them x1, y1. This one is a method which most teachers like. Why do they like it, or why do we like it? We like it simply because it enables the students who are working out this sum. It gives them easy time to identify the x and the y. Because the moment you've given them x1 and y1, x2 and y2, they will find it easier when they come to the formula. Change in y over change in x. It simply means you minus the y which is on the higher side minus the y which is on the lower side. And that is why we have decided to give them y1, x1, y2, x2. Yes, so having done that, I'm sure we have been able, thank you, we've been able to know how to find the gradient. Now, let us come back to the main core of our lesson for today. The main core of our lesson for today. The main core of our lesson for today. That was just an introductory. Now, we want to find equation of a straight line. Equation of a line. That is the writing on the wall. Equation of a line. And equation of a line, we have got two ways. The first way is given 2 points. Given 2 points. You can be given 2 points and then you've been told to find the equation of a line. Find the equation of a line. So what do we do? For example, example 1, find the equation of a line passing through points A, we have got 1, 3 and B 2, 8. I am still in the first example. Given 2 points, find the equation. And remember, before we find the equation of a line, what do? We must have the gradient. So we first find the gradient, which is change in y over change in x, which will be, I will just use my previous method, x1, y1, x2, y2, which will be 8 minus 3 over 2 minus 1, which will be 5 over 1. If I'm not wrong, 5 over 1, meaning our gradient is 5. Now, we have got our gradient. And remember, equation of a line, it is very critical. Why? We need to have 3 things. Requirements for equation of a line. 1, requirements. 1, gradient. 2, arbitrary points. 3, any point given. Now, in our case, we have got the gradient. Gradient, arbitrary, points. We have got gradient, arbitrary points, and any given point. So now in our case, we have got the gradient. The arbitrary points are always x, y, and any point given, in any point given, you can either use A or B. Whichever you use, you are going to get the same answer. So what do? We will just come and say gradient is change in y over change in x, which gradient we go to be 5, which will be change in y. We take one arbitrary point, which is y minus. In my case, I will use b. Will be 8, y minus 8 over x minus 2. So what do? We cross multiply. And I will advise the students that whenever you reach at this point, always make sure y is on the left hand side for easier working. It will be 1 into y minus 8 equals to 5 into x minus 2, which will be y minus 8 equals to 5x minus 10. So we want to form the equation, and equation in most cases it is always in the form of y equals to mx plus c. I will explain that later. Now here we are going to have y will be 5x minus 10 plus 8. You are asking, Mwalimu, why is it plus 8? It is plus 8 simply because this is negative 8. When it crosses the equal sign, the sign does what? Changes. So that is why we have got this. So it will be y equals to 5x minus 2. So this is our equation. And for you to confirm that you're right, let us check our gradient. What is our gradient? 5. And how we do notice our gradient? Let us come back to this. Y equals to mx plus c, where m is the gradient. And if m is our gradient, it means 5 is the gradient. And initially, we had got 5 to be our gradient. So that is how we form the equation given 2 points. Someone is asking me, Mwalimu, what of if you use point A? Are we going to get the same answer? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And I will do that for you to confirm that we have the same answer. As we stay tuned, I will advise you, well, I will just give a simple reminder that you are watching Kenya's #1 premier educational channel, KUTV. This is a channel that has enabled most of the teachers to air out their experience, air out their points, share their knowledge with the students. And remember, as a teacher, we are taught one thing, that knowledge is given freely, so we too give it out freely. Because in life, we give so that you'll be blessed. Stay tuned to Kenya's #1 premier educational channel, KUTV. Yes, back to the board. We want to find equation of a straight line using point A. Using point A. Now, I will just rub this from here. Just allow me to use this same point. Just allow me to use this same point. Now, gradient is 5 over 1 equals to y minus, now I am using A, y minus 3 over x minus 1. Cross multiply. Like I said previously, let the students always make sure that y is on the left. So it will be 1 into y minus 3 equals to 5 into x minus 1. Yes. Yes. 5 minus 1. So we are going to have y minus 3 equals to 5x minus 5. Yes. So what we have? Y will be 5x minus 5 plus 3. Finally, it will be, if I simplify this, y equals to 5x minus 2. And I'm cocksure that this is the same answer I got in the previous working. So in a nutshell, whichever point you use, you will get the same answer. You will get the same answer. You will get the same answer. We just want to, before I move to the next point, I will long to give a quiz. I want to give a question just under given 2 points, so that at least those who are watching us can also engage themselves. So it is just a simple quiz. Example, find the equation of a line passing through point A, -3, -4, and B, -1, -0. No, not really, not negative 0. 0. So you can try that. You can try that wherever you are, so that at least you engage your brain and see if we are moving together. You have got some few minutes to maybe write the question and work on it as we wait to move to the final point, which is gradient of a point. Gradient of a point given a gradient and 1 point. Yes, so you can do that. And at the back of your mind, you need to remember you are watching Kenya's #1 premier educational channel, none other than KUTV. Yeah, I think that was an ample time to write that question. Now, without wasting much time, I want to move to the last bit. I want to move to the last bit of equation of a straight line. Equation of a straight line. Now it is part B. Given the gradient, and 1 point, of the line. Given the gradient and 1 point of the line. Before I work out this, one thing the learners must understand is that in each and every step, you have to hear the term gradient being mentioned. In a nutshell, it means gradient is very vital. It's very, very vital for forming equation of a line. It is very, very vital for forming equation of a line. So now, example 1. Example 1. Determine the equation of a line with gradient with the gradient 3 and passing through points 1, 5. Passing through points 1, 5. So I'm sure most of you have come across this question in an exam, and you're like, how do we do it? You ask yourself, why is it that when the teacher teaches in class, they give easy example, but when they come to exam, wanakuletea mawe? No, see mawe. It is as simple as this. How is it simple? The background is you have to know that gradient is vital. So we come and say gradient, change in y over change in x. This is the basic thing. The moment you have got this, you are good to do what? To go. And also remember that this is equation of a straight line. Equation of a straight line. Just the 3 requirements that I gave are the same 3 requirements that you still need. Are the same 3 requirements. 1, gradient. 2, arbitrary point. 3, any point given. In our case, tumepewa gradient na 1 point. So what do? we choose arbitrary point. And I told you one thing, that in mathematics it's sometimes simple. You have been given the opportunity to choose. Just imagine, to choose what you want to do, what? To use. So what do? We come and say gradient is 3. Change in y over change in x. We take arbitrary point y. Y minus 5. I forgot to mention this. x1, y1. Y minus 5 over x minus 1. So what do? We cross multiply. Just like we did. We are going to have this is over 1. 1 into y minus 5 equals to 3 into x minus 1. So it will be y minus 5 equals to 3x minus 3. Allow me use the upper board because this is 2 down. Y minus 5 equals to 3x minus 3, if I'm not wrong. And now we write it in the form of y equals to mx plus c. So you're going to have y equals to 3x minus 3 plus 5 to give us y equals to 3x plus 2. And that is how we find equation of a straight line given those 2 points. Any question up to there? Any question? If there is no question, I will proceed kidogo tu. I will proceed kidogo tu. Now, in my proceeding, I will just introduce something kidogo, which now we are going to have the linear equation, and this linear equation, it is in the form of y equals to mx plus c. Now this is the point I was trying to derive, y equals to mx plus c, where now y equals to mx plus c, where m is the gradient, c is a constant. These y and x are variables. Y and x are variables. Now, after identifying this, I want to do 2 minor examples. Then I will call it a lesson 1. I want to talk about the y-intercept. The y-intercept. Now, as a student, I'm sure you have come across this question in exam, that find the y-intercept of the equation given. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that y-intercept simply means x is 0. And I will repeat, y-intercept simply means x is 0. So you can write it here, x equals to 0. For example, you've been told, find the y-intercept in the following. Roman 1, y equals to 3x plus 2. Y equals to 3x plus 2. Then you've been told to find the y-intercept. What do? It is as simple as you just come and say, where there is x, you will indicate a 0. Because I've said previously that y-intercept simply means x is 0. So we come and say y equals to 3 into 0 plus 2. Now y equals to 2. That is our y-intercept. Y equals to 2. That is our y-intercept. And the last point, or the last example, let us check, whereby we have got y equals to 5 over 2x minus 2. So now what do? Is that the same process? It's just the same process. Nothing is difficult in this. You just come and say, it will be y equals to 5 over 2 into 0 minus 2. Y is negative 2. So that is how simple that question is. That is how simple tackling that question can be. That is how simple tackling that question can be. And finally, I want to talk about the x-intercept. Then we call it a day, or we call it a lesson. We call it a lesson. We talk about the x-intercept. X-intercept simply means y is 0. Just imagine. Just imagine that. Y equals to 0. That is the x-intercept that most of the students have been crying. Elimu, apana. It is as simple as that. You just know the basics. X-intercept, y is 0. Then you'll be given an example. For example, you've been given y equals to 7x plus 3. Then you've been told, the question is, find the x-intercept. Unaanza kujiuliza, nianze wapi? Sasa sikiza, anza namna hii. The first thing is, the moment you know that the x-intercept y is 0, where there is y, you write 0. So it will be 0, sorry, it will be y equals to 7x plus 3. Where there is y, you write 0. So it will be 0 equals to 7x plus 3. We can rewrite it. 7x plus 3 equals to 0. I have changed nothing. I have just changed them the other side. So now what do? We find the value of x. This is unknown. This is known. We bring 1 on the other side. It will be 7x equals to negative 3. Why? It has crossed the sign. Divide by 3. X will be negative 3 over 7. Just imagine. That is the x-intercept. That is the x-intercept. That is the x-intercept. As we continue, remember to always keep watching Kenya's #1 premier educational channel, KUTV, a channel that enlightens our students, a channel that keeps students busy whenever they're at home, a channel that enables or reminds our students of whatever they're being taught in school. So I'll always urge all the parents, instead of keeping your children to watch cartoon, which doesn't add any educational value, you can tune in to KUTV each and every day to get educational information, to get educational background. And remember, they say, education is the weapon to success. Now, said and done, I want to finalize. And as I finalize, we were doing gradient and equation of a straight line. And first, we were able to find the gradient of a line, sorry, and we saw how to find gradient of a line in our previous writing, and we said gradient of a line is gotten by two ways. One, when you have got 2 points, that is point A and B. When you've been given the 2 points, A and B, you can find the gradient of a line. Two, you can also find the gradient of a line given one point and a gradient. From there, we moved on to form equation of a straight line. And from there, after saying that, we saw how to form equation of a straight line given 2 points, then the next point given 1 point, given a gradient and 1 point. And finally, we did the linear equation, which is y equals to mx plus c, which we did the y-intercept, which I said is x equals to 0, like you can see on the board, and we worked it out. And finally, we did the x-intercept, which is y equals to 0. Yes, so that marks the end of our lesson for today. I was very grateful for those who are watching us, and stay tuned to Kenya's #1 premier educational channel.